All right, ladies and gentlemen, you're welcome to Ease and As Yans. This is where we discuss real life issues. Today we are discussing on a particular topic right now. This is extremely very controversial. But with me right here, I have three lovely people. In no particular order, I have Barrister Ipukun Adedoyin.
Hello.
And I also have Dr. Tayo Owolabi.
Good afternoon.
And I have someone very special also in the building. I have Dr. Seun Olabode.
Thanks for having me.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are eating it real fast right now. But before we get deep into it, what is rape?
Well, let us start by saying rape is a devastating experience that has long-lasting aftermath effect that spans from medical, psychosocial, and if possible, legal pronouncement as regard both the victim and the perpetrator. Now, rape is not a medical diagnosis. It is rather a legal term,
Okay.
which I would define as a forceful penetration of the vulva. By this specifically, I mean the vagina or anus,
Okay.
irrespective of how slight it is being mentioned. This is just a point out to people that will say just the tip. It was just the tip and nothing more. Like, irrespective of how slight that penetration is, now done either with any part of the body and for the mouth with a sex organ of the perpetrator. In other words, there are three things that involve.
Okay.
It is non-consensual, it is forceful,
So once it's forceful and non-consensual, it is rape.
and there is penetration.
Okay? The three major things.
The three major
Barrister, layman's term. Don't take us into the law realm.
Okay.
What is rape?
Basically, on the legal term, rape is being defined as unlawful carnal knowledge of by a man with a woman or a girl. So either with the penis or with an object.
I'm moved to ask the next question, but let me allow Dr. Seun talk on what rape is.
Basically, I would say rape is any sexual act with one of the two people involved unwilling.
Unwilling. Okay, when Barrister was saying any unlawful act with a woman, so that means you're saying a man can't be raped?
In Nigerian law, no, it's not possible. It's not, you can't prove that a man was raped in the sense that our law doesn't provide for it. So the rape is defined, as I mentioned, as, it's committed by a man against a woman
So
or a girl.
once it's against a woman,
Yes.
it's rape.
So, yes.
So we don't have any cases where it is committed against a man. Is that what you're saying?
Well, I won't be able to say that because the cases that have been confirmed, none.
So
And there's
men are not raped.
at the moment, there's no case to say that men.
Dr.
Yes.
Tayo, men are not raped.
I know, I beg to
you
differ.
you just heard it now.
I beg
Once
to differ.
because you said even in your definition too, you said even if it's a slight tip. So in your definition, you made it obvious that it's a man that rapes a woman, but I didn't see there where a woman rapes a man.
Okay, thank you very much. If we go back to that definition,
Yes.
I made mention of the anus.
Yes.
Yes.
So we have anal penetration. 67% of rape cases among men is anal penetration, and 43% oral. So it means, based on that definition, a man can be raped. And believe me, in the lifetime of a man, it has been said that 1 in 20 we have a case of rape or sexual violence before the age of 18.
Wow.
In other words, that means if we picture a stadium of 100,000 people, 25,000 before the age of 18 must have been exposed to sexual violence even as male. So the only problem is it is, number one, underreported.
Underreported.
That was one. Number two, obviously, when we look back at researches, the societal pictures that we have, the main drive or the main focus of the story of rape has always been the women. But now we have so many examples, instances in our environment of cases where men are being raped, even boys, irrespective. So,
Dr. Seun Olabode, sorry to cut you. Can male gender be a victim of rape?
First and foremost, I would want to empathize with people that have been a victim of rape. And I would also want to say, being a woman, I acknowledge that female gender is probably on the greater angle of experiencing rape. But that doesn't negate the fact that the male gender is prone to rape also. Being a counselor, I've been confided in by various age range of men talking about how they lost their innocence. There were cases where it was big aunties that were supposed to be house helps that took advantage of them. And there were other instances where those innocent boys were taken to boys-only secondary schools, and they happened to be in the boarding house, and it was their school fathers or house masters that took advantage of them. The pathetic part of it is that because there's no arrangement made by the legal arm of the government regarding seeking a redress for the male gender, it's a little wonder they would want to report it in the first instance. When I know that my reporting doesn't make any difference, why should I bother reporting? Then in the society where they believe a man is supposed to be strong, you are supposed to bottle everything up, you are not supposed to talk, showing emotions make you look like a weakling, then most times they bottle it up and don't talk about it. That is why it looks as if only the female gender are being abused. Though the female gender is on the increase and the percentage is more, I want to believe that the male gender are victims too.
I want to just chip in something with what Mommy said. So you mentioned that the law doesn't provide for redress for male. I mean, you might not be able to bring it under the arm of rape, but we have sexual assault, we have defilement, depending on the age. So under that canopy, I think the male victim can also come under that.
Okay, having said that, I wanted to ask, can our dressing influence rape? Because many times people say, it's the way she dressed. Even by the time you even go to, before we started now, we were talking about reporting these cases at hospitals. And the first thing the nurses will say, where have you been? Where did you two go? What did you wear? People are always saying, probably because of the miniskirts, that was why they were raped. And so I made my own instance that, okay, if somebody said that because of miniskirts, that's why you raped her. So me, I'm probably addicted to fried chicken. So if I see fried chicken on another person's rice, I'll just go there and pick it up. Are you getting what I'm saying? So does the way we dress, does it affect rape?
Let me come in. So, I mean, this thing is everywhere. Sometimes, once the victim even is able to summon courage to come up, then you have people say, watch what you wore. I mean, rape is rape, done by rapists. There's no other name than that. So, we shouldn't put it, it's not a punishment. So, when you say the dressing, it's not a punishment. So, are you trying to punish the person who wore that?
So are you saying that they can still wear anything?
My point, I preach decency.
Okay.
I morality and all, but we shouldn't use that as a basis to make the victim. So sometimes you have people say, you slept off in a guy's place, or you drank alcohol, or, excuses to make it or negate the fact that you just raped somebody. No, you just raped somebody, you are a rapist.
Even though you dressed to looking like somebody that needs to be raped.
That is not...
Doctor, because now people are still, there's a particular lady now that in the news accused a man of raping her. I think he spent 26 years in jail. And it was a false accusation at the end of the day. But before we enter false accusations, tell me.
Okay, let us put it this way. A man can't have, or will not always have, power over his erection. But sex is a decision before it's an action.
Yeah, please say that from again so that people will hear very well.
What I'm trying to say is that a man may claim not to have power over his erection.
Okay.
Of course, there is an involuntary system or mechanism behind that.
Okay.
But sex is a decision before it becomes an action. So therefore, it can be controlled.
Yeah.
Now, imagine a lion walking in the jungle, very hungry, looking for something to devour. And the only thing left is a well-branded, nice set of salad of grasses, lushing, green, sparkling. A lion will die hungry rather than eat the grass. Why? A lion is a carnivore, is a nature. So, and apart from talking about rape, there is something we call rape culture, which is a concept that the ways by which the society, either consciously or unconsciously, have promoted rape as the fault of the victim, rather than calling into action the case of the perpetrator.
Okay.
Now, it's just if we go through so many of this social media, we go through the tabloids and every stuff, it's as if the common message then used to be, don't get raped.
Okay.
Which is not complete. Because of course, in the society of men, there will always be beasts among men. However, the complete gospel should be, don't get raped, Old Testament. Don't rape, New Testament.
Hey. Okay.
Until we are able to put that two together.
Don't get raped.
Don't
Rape. That should be the
Until
message
we are able
now.
to put
Okay.
those two things together. We don't have any good platform to make impact as regards the rape message.
Mommy, while he was talking, I remember a case where they said someone wearing full hijab was also raped. So can dressing really affect this rape issue we're talking about?
Dressing or no dressing, you don't have a right to sexually assault any other human being. Sex should be consensual. Sex should be mutual. So, indecent dressing should not be the basis for assaulting any other human being. That being said, I would also want to emphasize the need to be careful with our dressing. As much as we have the liberty to package ourselves any way we want, we should factor the people around us that came from dysfunctional backgrounds. People who have been exposed to assault, sexual assault, people whose mental frame have been thwarted by being exposed to negativities. And the reason for this is that I wouldn't want our appearance to be a trigger for the inhumane part of them. Fine, a raped person can seek a redress and the offender can be punished. But that personal experience they had, the horrors of it doesn't leave easily.
Okay.
So redress or no redress, I believe we should look beautiful. I believe we should look decent. I believe we should be able to express ourselves in the way we dress. But we should also factor not helping those people with abased minds in triggering the inhumane side of them. So we should look good, we should look beautiful, but we should understand balance.
So when they now, possibly now, a rapist now caught, what should be the penalty? People are saying, if you go to the streets of Twitter now, some are saying death. Some are even saying that they should put tire on their neck, burn them instantly. Some are saying jail term, some are saying prison, some are saying they should, a lot of bad stuff going off right now. What should be their punishments? Should rape come, let me ask it well, should rape come with a death penalty?
Well, at the moment, it doesn't.
But should it
the
be?
maximum is life imprisonment. My personal opinion is it should be a minimum of life imprisonment and then death penalty for maximum, because most times they hardly get to the maximum.
Okay.
So if the minimum is, I think they should be put away forever.
For as long as possible.
Yes.
So to be put
To
away,
be put away is life imprisonment.
Dr. Taya,
Well, as much as I believe in retributive justice, when it comes to the matter of rape, I don't believe that death sentence is the best way to put everything at rest.
So they should allow someone who is a rapist live.
I believe, number one, rape is a product of failure of institution. How do I mean by this? The few people caught in this act, can we have a good track record to review of all of them being punished accordingly, even as at the level of what the punishment is presently? Now, we are mentioning, or we are trying to push the agenda of death sentence because we feel a more draconian rule will put the people to hold. However, number one, history has revealed, research has already also agreed that punishment is not always the most effective way to hold down or put to a stop a particular bad trend.
Okay.
So what I believe is, number one, let the trust in institution be restored, in that everyone who has committed this rape, let's even assume that the punishment is 15 years imprisonment. Let it be done. Let us see that in action.
But such a person will still come out.
Now, I'm not. That's the issue. That's why I said I believe essentially not just in retributive justice, but in restorative justice.
Okay.
So many people have believed that both of them cannot be together, but I believe the two can occur at once.
Okay.
As one. How do I mean? Number one, the rapist must face the music. That's number one. You've just caused someone probably one of the most traumatic experiences anyone could have in life. Number two, the victim is always ignored most times. It's believed that, sentence to death, everything is fine. You can't buy back that pain.
True.
His death or whatsoever cannot restore her or cannot automatically restore her. Let us also put in this system, we should emphasize rehabilitation of the victim. And there are so many other powerful things I see. You've just served your sentence or whatsoever punishment allotted to you. Now we need you to do a community service. Start talking to people about rape. And let them know that you are
a rapist.
A rapist at one time. We believe people can change. I still believe in the redemption of mankind, no matter how terrible it is.
Ex-rapist.
So, ex-rapist.
Then people will start calling him
But
that.
how will it look like? No, Dr.
People
Tayo.
start calling him that.
Because how
And
will
then
it
they'll
look
start
like
running from him.
when you are now getting to the door? I mean, to talk to people about this whole thing, and then you're not on it, or probably you're having a conference, and you're telling them about being a rapist and all that. And say, so, ladies and gentlemen, I'm an ex-rapist. Do you know with that first sentence, so people can start stoning him?
Of course.
So how do we merge to do together?
The beauty of life is man has always tried to avoid consequences. But consequences are part of the system. Either you make the best decision or the worst decision.
Okay.
What you've done has made you an ambassador
Of the rapist community.
We have pastors that will say there was a time I was a thief, I killed. Do people start running? So now, at least, probably for the first 3 months after release, you must give such speech once in a month or twice in a week. And as time goes on, now that should even let people know that if you say, it's so troubling, how much more the person you rape. Of course, we don't expect you to mention the person's name when that happened. But I believe in the restorative justice. I don't, because even research, there was a time, I think there was a particular research done in India where this hang the rapist, kill the rapist protest was on. And when they studied, they discovered that over, I don't know, is it 5 or 7 years, 30% of those people actually sentenced to death will obtain acquittal.
Wow.
And the other 70%, in one way or the other, everything gets commuted. So what's the point? We need to know on the other side, if the rapist know that once he's caught, he's going to die, the victim will never live to tell the story. So who are we saving?
Okay. Some people just believe that once they burn them or they shoot them or they shall kill them one way or the other, they feel probably at least the lineage of rapist in that person's life has ended.
So it's also going to make, I'm sorry, but let me just drop it. especially, let me say, based on my interaction with people in the Southwest, reports will also become very biased. Because now, the victim might even feel guilty that, do I want this man dead? I want him punished, but I don't want him. Probably he's the only son. Of course, you should have thought about that before doing that. But what I'm trying to say is that people coming out to even say this is the offense, especially probably the rapist is now a superstar, or probably a politician, is going to be very, very. So I think that sentence.
The thing is, once you give them the avenue to, able to come out and then start, there is nothing that stops them or deters them from, still committing that same offense.
Okay, so that means once they know that they won't die,
yes,
it's just the talk show they will carry us to and start talking to people.
Then especially those people you say, when they have money, they could do these things and then people will just keep quiet.
So Dr. Seun, now
okay. Listening to my colleagues, yes, I wouldn't advocate death penalty. Not because what they did doesn't worth more than death, if there's any greater punishment than death, but because, number one, when there's a standard rule that ensures that the rapist dies, it brings about the beast. They're already a degree, there's a level of beast in them, but it will heighten it because they know that you have to report before I get killed. Yes. So a dead doesn't make a report. Okay. So I would rape you and kill you to ensure that a report is not being made. Wow. So it can get them to go to the extreme. Fine, you might have killed them psychologically and emotionally and everything, but if they are still alive, with support, with therapy, with encouragement from friends and families, they can pick the shredded parts of their life together. But if they end up dead, that is the end of everything. Then secondly, there are instances where years after the person has been judged in the law court, it is discovered that the basis through which the judgment was presented and the evidences that was presented at the law court were actually falsified. So if we decide that rape should come with the death penalty, what if, like the doctor said, happened in India, what if the person has been sentenced to death and the death had been carried out before it was discovered that probably it was cooked up? There can be no redemption. But if it's a jail term, there can be redemption. There was a case of a man overseas who was jailed for 35 years. He was incarcerated in 1981. He was freed this year. Though he was falsely incarcerated, he's lost 35 years of his life, but he's able to come out now because he wasn't killed then. If he had been killed, there wouldn't have been a means to redeem things. The third thing is that when we point a finger at others, the remaining finger gets pointed at us. The society should also help in fighting rape. There are many things we approve. There are many things we praise. There are many things we accord accolades to that are not necessary. They don't want it. They debase humanity. When I put on the TV and I see some musicals and the way the ladies are presented on the screen, I feel ashamed. I feel ashamed because to me they are projecting a female gender as being items of sex. You look at what they wear, G-string and bra, and those guys singing will be eating them and at inappropriate places in the name of music. And we have regulatory body in the country approving such music. We have organizations that give such musicians debasing womanhood. They give them ambassadorial contracts, giving them huge amount of money, giving them awards. I don't think that should be encouraged. By the time the society is fighting it on their own end, ensuring that female gender is not presented as sex objects, because I don't see men wearing boxers and dancing. I don't see men wearing briefs and dancing. Why is it the women, why is it the female gender that should be wearing bra and jean strings? Why is it women that should be dancing nude? Why don't their men dance nude? They should accord a little respect to women too. We deserve to be respected. If they call it private part, it should be private. The society should help us ensure that that is being addressed. And after that is being addressed, a long jail term, a very long jail term should be accorded, but I don't think death penalty should do for now, because it might harden them the more towards killing their victims.
This is getting hotter. But when you delved into the movies and the songs we watch, I think we need to also state categorically that these women were enforced. Now their own volition, by their own consent. It wasn't as if they went to their house and say, as if it was like safe trade. That, oh yeah, 20 people in this house, oh yeah, line up, we want to go and use you for vixen. And they say, oh yeah, you're wearing panto. I'm not wearing panto. Let that man too wear boxers. No.
The truth of the matter is that
Dr. Tayo say we can now start wearing pants.
However,